Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is an absolutely beautiful game. After 50 hours of total playtime, I can officially say that it is one of my favourite games of all time. But why, you ask? Why is this game held in such high regard by Pyrrha soul? Well, I wish to explain it in a comprehensive review of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Our first topic will be story. Then we'll move on to some voice acting, some side story lore that I feel wasn't fleshed out enough, as well as going over all the main characters. Next, I will talk about the gameplay, which means any problems I have with certain systems and how combat is executed. Finally, I will talk about the overall feel of the game. Right, it's a lot to take in, but I really want to get through this quickly, so let's start. Xenoblade 2's world is called Orest, and Orest's land is made up of living beings called Titans, in which there are 7. Argentum, Genbu, Gormott, Indol, Leftherians, Morardane, Temperantia, and Uriah. Though there are much smaller Titans everywhere, there is also a massive world tree in the middle of the Titans called Elysium. Legends say that a hero named Adam scaled the world tree and brought back with him 3 core crystals, one being Malos, and the other being Mithra, and a third one that was lost. Now that we've set up the world, let's begin with the main characters of this game. Now, let this be known, I'm only going over the characters you can play as in the game. I'll go over side characters when and if we get to them. Firstly, we have our main protagonist, Rex, and his blade Pyrrha, Mithra, and Numa. Rex is a young salvager who sends most of his money back to his folk back at home in Fonset Village. Disclaimer, Fonset Village is in, I think, Leftherians. Oh fuck, I can't remember. Rex is very brave as well as somewhat naive, fighting for his friends as well as the fate of Orest. Pyrrha, or Mithra, or Numa, is Rex's blade and is also the Aegis, a 500-year-old blade that was made by the architect, or the god of this world. Pyrrha has 3 forms, Pyrrha herself, Mithra, and Numa. I know that the third form isn't called Numa, because it's technically just a much more powerful form of Mithra, but I'm doing it like this just so it's easier to differentiate through. Our second playable character is Nia and Dromark. Nia is a very cynical and sarcastic person, voicing her opinions whenever she feels, though understanding the insecurity she contains herself. As well as being my favourite character, she is very funny and has a sort of crush on Rex. Now her blade Dromark is a very loyal and powerful blade, story and gameplay wise. 2 things that I absolutely love about Nia and Dromark is that if you put Nia to the front of the party, she rides Dromark, which is just adorable. Plus, Dromark refers to Nia as my lady, amplifying that loyal aspect to his personality. Alright, I'm very biased clearly, let's just move on. Now, for Tora and Poppy. Tora is a Nopon inventor who aspires to become a driver, though after attempting to resonate with a core crystal, he was unsuccessful, and he's said to have a violent nosebleed for days on end. Instead of crying over spilt milk though, Tora decided to create an artificial blade that would act the same as a normal blade. Tora is successful in his efforts and creates Poppy. For being artificial or robotic, Poppy actually has a personality, though she speaks like a Nopon since she was created by a Nopon. She's also quite snarky at times towards Tora of all people, though she is very loyal, calling him Master Pond. Tora also used to use Poppy as a sex slave. Oh fucking hell. Fuck, it's a bit heavy-handed. You know, I'm gonna fucking leave it in. Second last, Lady Morag and Bridget. Both come from a royal family that runs Morardane, being the special inquisitor for the Ardanian Empire. More specifically, serving the Emperor Nile, Morag's younger brother. Morag is quite loyal, straightforward, and dedicated, as she remains forever loyal to the Ardanian military. Wielding a title as hardened veteran of battle, though that cannot be done without her blade Bridget. Bridget is known to be the most powerful blade in the Empire, incredibly strong, wielding powers almost equal to the Aegis, or at least incredibly close. In fact, they both fought alongside each other nearly 500 years ago, but I'll leave that for my comprehensive review of Torn of the Golden Country. Finally, last but definitely not least, Zeke and Pandoria. Zeke von Genbu is Crown Prince of Tantal and is quite flamboyant, over the top and hilarious, calling himself at times the Zekeinator. Zeke does not have enough screen time. Simply put, he's the funniest character in the game, also quite the laughingstock, being lovingly called Shellhead by Nia because of the pet turtle he has named Turtus. Though Zeke would not be the driver he is today, let alone alive today, without his blade Pandoria, or as he calls her, Pandy, is also a royal blade that ties in a bit more with the Titan that she comes from. Pandy actually can command what Genbu does, as she has a direct line of connection with Genbu. Anyway, Pandy treats Zeke with the same amount of respect as Poppy does with Tora, saying that he has the worst luck as well as openly sharing some of Zeke's worst moments. These are the characters of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and let me tell ya, whew, I love absolutely every one of them, especially Nia, but that's been well established by now. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 begins on the back of a small titan named Azurda, though Rex calls him Gramps. Gramps is Rex's guardian, as both of Rex's parents are deceased. Speaking of Rex, he lives on the back of Gramps salvaging items for a living. While eating lunch with Gramps, Rex sees a rather large titan sink under the Cloud Sea. All Rex at the moment is running out of living space. As titans are regularly dying, Rex believes that the answer to this spacing problem relies on the World Tree, in the middle of the Cloud Sea, which he believes has space for everyone living on all of the titans to live on. Anyway, Rex sells the salvaged parts at the Argentum Trade Guild, though it also has a mailing service, and Rex sends most of the money he makes to home, Fonset Village, just to keep him afloat. After Rex returns to the Argentum Trade Guild to sell off his items, he receives a request from Chairman Banner, a Nopon in charge of managing the Argentum Trade Guild. Before we continue, I will explain what drivers are. A driver is a person who is linked to a blade. Drivers can link to a blade by resonating with the core crystal. After the core crystal has been resonated with, the blade will give the driver a weapon that they can use in combat. Blades power up the driver and give them power to combat the monsters that lurk in the world. That is an incredibly watered down version of what they both are, but for the sake of keeping this as short as possible, I will explain blades a lot further later in the video. For the meantime, Chairman Banner summons Rex to complete a task for the organization called Torna. Torna carries out secretive operations under Aures Cloud Sea, in search for the Aegis. Though Rex is not totally salvaging for the Aegis, in fact the details are overlooked quite swiftly once Rex has been offered 200,000 gold. 100,000 gold he will receive in advance, and the 100,000 he receives for completion of the job. Malos challenges Rex to see if he's up to it. Rex fights back and challenges him. Note that at this point in time, Rex isn't a driver yet, and still he challenges Malos. It's quite impressive, especially considering who and what you find out Malos to be later in the story. Just before we continue, this is also where you meet your first party members, Nia and Dromark. Anyway, Rex and Torna set off in the middle of nowhere in the Cloud Sea to find an ancient ship. While Rex is on picket or night watch, Nia comes up to talk to Rex, telling him that the salvagers are downstairs getting grogged up. She says she'll take over until he gets back, but declines the chance to get drunk and stays with Nia, explaining how he thinks Elysium may be the answer to the Titan real estate problem. Then they finally find the location of the ancient ship, and the salvagers pull it up so that Torna can find what they're ultimately looking for. Jin, another party member, tells Rex to accompany them into the ship. Then, once they get into the room they need to, it's locked. But Rex has the power to open it, and what he finds inside is a sword and a girl. Rex goes to touch the sword, but once he does, Jin swiftly executes him, puncturing his heart, instantly killing him. Rex wakes up in what we eventually find to be Elysium, with our main girl Pyrrha. After a quick chat, Pyrrha asks Rex to touch her chest. No, not her tits, I mean the literal crystal on her chest. I know it's hard to think about anything around Pyrrha with our fucking enormous tits, but bear with me here, please. After Pyrrha shares her life force with Rex, he comes back to life and goes to find Malos and challenges him. Now, that's as far as I'm going to go, because I truly believe this is something you just have to experience. Xenoblade 2 story is not going to win any awards. I am 100% sure of that, and I'm factually correct. I don't think it's won a single award. But, it did keep me hooked and interested throughout my whole playthrough. So there's that. Now, I know I said I was going to segment a whole section to this, but I really don't think it's important to my critique. But, the voice acting, as well as the dialogue at some points, is quite subpar. I mean, Rex says the dumbest shit sometimes, as well as Nia off the top of my head.
You won't name your friends, the driver boy and his blade?
Rex and Pyrrha.
Well, that was easy.
Yet the voice acting didn't take away from the game as much as it should. Considering that this game clearly doesn't take itself as seriously as Xenoblade Chronicles 1, I believe it's a step in a different direction, but an entertaining step nonetheless. Now, to the lore. There are a few things I'd like to talk about, but I must leave a spoiler warning here, so I highly recommend you either skip to the timestamp given, or just watch it. Anyway, flesh eaters. What just popped into your head when I said that? An infectious disease, maybe? Some sort of disgusting virus? An insect crawling through the flesh of a deceased person, leaving its larva inside the skin, ripping and tearing as the bugs digest and infect the remains of a dead carcass that is? Well, in the universe of Xenoblade, a flesh eater is a blade that has been infused with a driver, usually in the hopes to create a stronger blade. This almost never works and usually ends up being someone like Cole. Cole was a legendary blade that had combined with its old driver in hopes to make a better blade, but now he's running a theatre in Fonsamima in Araya. Remember the gruesome detail I was telling you about before? Well, that was something that I had felt when I first the name Flesh Eater. I thought that Cole would have been rotted, infested with some sort of incurable disease, holding on to what little life he has, only staying alive for the safety and well-being of his daughter Iona. But no, I mean it's not a big deal, I just kinda let my mind wander honestly. There's a justified reason for why they're called flesh eaters, but there's just some shit about fusing cells and shit like that. I just wish it was more of a physical representation of what it looks like. What I'm trying to say is, I wish there was more of a reason to care for the fact that they were a flesh eater. Like if you heard someone had a disease like cancer, you'd feel sorry for them because they are probably going through an incredible amount of pain. With flesh eaters, I don't think it's told or even implied that being a flesh eater is some sort of bad thing. Of course, it definitely lessens the lifespan of blades by taking away their immortality, but that's about it. They probably didn't do it because it didn't fit with the vision they had with the story. Which is fine enough, you know, if it doesn't fit the vision you're going with, then there's no reason to include it. All I'm saying is that the story I was describing about Cole a few minutes ago is a million times more endearing and something you would actually care about rather than what Cole had going for him in Xenoblade 2. Secondly, two things that are shown to you with no context about where they're from. First, the foresight system being watered down to an essentially shitty version of Monado Speed from Xenoblade 1. The foresight system in Xenoblade 1 worked like this. Shulk, the main protagonist, could see into the future, effectively creating a foresight for him to save his friends. But it was also integrated into gameplay, being that you had to save, say, Ryan, from a fatal blow which would kill him. So, you had to warn him and then he would react by using a defensive art. Foresight in Xenoblade 2 is an occasional evasion stat that you would get during battle. I don't really have a problem with using Foresight, and furthermore, I don't mind making it an occasional evasion stat. People thought that whole Foresight system was too intrusive and it pissed people off. What I don't like is that they say in one scene after Mithra is awakened that it exists and you can use it, but seemingly never being mentioned from that point onwards. Probably because it wasn't really an integral part to the story like it was in XC1. I'm going to save the criticism I have for this point after I get through the next paragraph of sentences because I really want to have a massive blowout. It's going to be really funny. The final one is about Malos having a Monado. Malos does get his hands on a Monado at some point in the story, but more importantly, no one except for Malos even actually says the word or acknowledges that he even has one. It's just there. He even uses Monado arts like Buster and Smash. I really don't have a problem with it being in the game. Again, I just wish at some point they say something about it. Like, surely if they had possession of a Monado, they would know the power it holds and the dangers of wielding one. Or better yet, don't give Malos a fucking Monado if it's not integral to the story. Same goes for Foresight. Don't fucking put it in the story if it's got nothing to do with it. I had to search up after this fight about Malos having the Monado, and I fucking spoiled myself. They apparently rebuild the Monado multiple times in Xenoblade 1? Alright, whatever, let's just move on to the gameplay. Right, let's start with combat. Basics of combat, pretty easy to grasp. First, you target an enemy and press the A button to initiate combat. Then walk over to an enemy and you should begin to auto-attack. But that's just the beginning of combat. After that, you are provided with blade arts that, if used correctly, can do massive damage. You have 3 blade arts to use and then a special. The special move can charge up to 4 at max and does damage no matter who you are. Let's get back to blade arts real quick. Blade arts also have different effects, like Rex's 3 arts are Anchor Shot, Sword Bash, and Double Spinning Edge. And the special is called a Rolling Smash. Each art has a different side effect, like Anchor Shot drops HP potions after using it, Sword Bash does more damage from the back, Double Spinning Edge does more damage from the side, and Rolling Smash has AoE damage, and it gets rid of it. Aggro. There are tons more side effects with different characters, but for the sake of not spoiling movesets or what class which character is, I'm just going to leave it there. Now, for the only other gameplay method that I want to complain about. The field system makes me want to fucking off myself. The field system works like this. All blades have certain proficiencies in certain areas, like Dromark has Water Mastery, since he's a water type blade, Botany, which helps you more with materials in hotspots like this, and Ancient Wisdom, being used to translate ancient language and giving us more information about the Aegis War 500 years ago. You need to fill a certain threshold, that being, in terms of levels, 1 to 5, max level is 3, and you need to have enough blades to fill that threshold. It'll let you open the door if you need to open or reveal a hidden platform that wasn't there before, or it'll do other in-game events like show a piece of art on the wall. You see, you aren't really meant to stick with one blade, but for my playthrough I usually stuck to having the one blade, being the character story blade. You are encouraged to acquire more blades because of the field system, but I just didn't want to because I felt like it was cheating on Dromark, bro. You will never upgrade your field skill just by playing story quest. If you want to do that, you have to level those up by completely going out of your way to do it, which I don't want to do because I just wanted to complete the story. So, this is how it plays out. I'm sitting here on a nice Saturday night on the school holidays, absolutely fucking banging out story quests, and I'll get to a door that needs Ancient Wisdom level 3. But I haven't got that, so I've got to halt all progress made on the story and level up Dromark's field stat. Then it starts to take longer and longer because of some gay shit that makes it so you can't get it within an hour, so I have to gamble on getting more blades, hoping to fucking God that it has Ancient Wisdom, then I can get shit in my mouth. It's just a nightmare, dude. It's so bad from a game design standpoint and a player standpoint. The only game I can remember off the top of my head that did this was Super Mario 3D World. As in, if you didn't have enough stars to progress, they would just stop you. And it feels so bad when that happens. Quests I didn't really even bother with either. Some quests relied completely on the collectible system, which I find stupid because there's no indicator as to what items are at that collectible spot. Except for the location of that spot. As in, if it's next to a pond or river, you'll find more aquatic items, and if the spot's next to a tree, you'll usually get wood, berries, and pine cones and stuff like that. So when quests rely on rarer items and the spot disappears after you've used it, I just didn't bother. People on the Xenoblade 2 subreddit will tell you to find a certain spot that has certain items, then you kill yourself to make the spot respawn, to then have another chance to get the item. That's completely stupid, and I don't want to kill myself, so again, I just didn't bother. Just before I end the criticism section, I just wanted to go into the final boss. Again, there is spoilers for this bit, so I recommend going into the timestamp or just watching. Honestly, the only thing I'm spoiling is what the boss looks like and its moves. No context to what it is though. Anyway, this thing! Every boss or story fight has special moves that you need to be aware of and counter, but this has a one-shot ability. This cancerous siren thing just fucking obliterates you, no matter what health you have, defense items, consumables, nothing. The only way to counter it is to use chain specials. Because when you're doing combos, all parties have invincibility frames, but try and use it as early as you can, because it's possible that a thing can use the move before you can even get invincibility frames again. Though with all these flaws, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was still an amazing experience that will always stick with me. It actually almost felt identical to my experience with Persona 5. It was an amazing experience, beat within the school holidays after Christmas, loved every minute of it, and have gone back to previous games. I highly recommend that you play Xenoblade Chronicles 2, or at least go back and play Xenoblade X or Xenoblade 1. Both games are held in high critical acclaim and are on cheap systems that are easily accessible. Xenoblade 1 is on the Wii and the 3DS. Note that the Wii version is a bit more expensive and the 3DS can only be played on the new $120 to $200+ systems, but honestly is a worthwhile purchase anyway if you have the right games. I picked up the 3DS version a while back after beating the game for only $36 pre-owned, and Xenoblade X is at its cheapest, $19. Xenoblade X is on the Wii U and can be a cheaper option if you don't have a Wii U, as they only go for $128 last I seen, or even the Wii version of Xenoblade 1, and Wii setting you only back $100, which in my opinion is a great purchase anyway, even if you have no interest in buying Xenoblade, compared to buying a new 3DS XL. That is all I have to say. For my conclusion, I will leave you by saying this. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is a beautiful game. Hello, if you're watching this far, I'm very, very pleased that you watched this far. I put a lot of effort into writing the script. I'd been working on the script for a few months. Actually, this idea only came to me halfway through Xenoblade. I actually remember the time. It doesn't matter for the moment. Yeah, anyway, thanks for getting this far. It's been a while since I uploaded, but I'm hoping to get some more creative passion projects out like this one. I have a plan to release a Resident Evil 2 review, because oh fuck, I love that game. It's not gonna be a critique, more it's gonna be a dick sucking sesh, but god fucking damn, is it a good game to suck a dick, bro. Yeah, anyway, I also have plans to release 2 other reviews. One for Fire Emblem Fire Emblem Fates Conquest, I believe it is. Let me break it out here. Nope, that's not the right one. Yeah, Conquest, because that one is fucking objectively cooler. And yeah, I did say I bought Xenoblade Chronicles 3D back a while ago, and I have it right here in my hand. So yes, I'm going to release a review on Xenoblade Chronicles 3D when I get around to beating that game. But for the moment, expect a review maybe on Kingdom Hearts 3. Not too sure. Don't promise anything. No, I'm not going to promise anything, no, of course, because this took a fucking while to get out. I only just started recording this video, like, I think yesterday, actually. Yeah, but the script did take me quite a while to write, and honestly, writing is a fucking passion of mine. I absolutely fucking loved writing every single sentence of this thing. I also have taken up some more projects in writing. I have another video idea where I could do a case study. In fact, I had an idea for a case study on one of Jojo's Bizarre Adventures characters. More specifically, the self-insert character, clearly, the guy who, well, writes and shit. So, yeah, thanks for watching once again, and I'll see you when I get this video and the one about the case study out. Bye-bye.
Before I go, here's some quick, outtakes that I thought were pretty funny and, kept for no fucking reason, so I'm just gonna put them here.
Wielding a title as Hardened Veteran of Battle, though that cannot be done without a blade. Fuck. Okay, I thought Mum was gonna beat me, bro. Now Tora and Poppy. Tori. Yeah, it's a fucking bird. Pandy. Fuck. Pandy! I fucking hate fagots! I threw off their scent. I mean, Rex says the dumbest shit sometimes, as well as Neo off the top of my head, yet the voice acting didn't take away from the game as much as it should. Considering that this game clearly doesn't take itself as seriously as Xenoblade Chronicles 1, I believe it's a step in a different direction, but an entertaining step. I was such a good fucking take! Oh, whatever.
God, I fucking hate this mic. Do you fucking hear it? My god, I want to fucking kill myself every time I've got this mic on.